Hey everybody, it's Patrick. Welcome back to another episode of RevTalks. Today we're here with Spencer at StartupHakk. How's it going today, Spencer?
Good. Been a good day.
Perfect. Glad to hear it. Appreciate you joining on RevTalks for a little quick 15-minute intro. Can you talk a little bit about StartupHakk, how you actually founded the company, and how it all began and started?
Yeah. So at StartupHakk, we love to build custom software solutions for companies. I've been working as a software developer for over 25 years, been working as a fractional CTO for over 10 years, started a YouTube channel. It grew, started teaching people to code. We started a vocational school where we teach people how to code, and then have started the software consulting by hiring people out of the boot camps, and have the business has grown on all three fronts.
Okay, so the very interesting front I haven't heard of in a lot of traditional development companies where you actually have an educational portion of it to where those people actually become, I guess, certified developers and actually work on the team. Okay, super cool. And when did that element of the business actually start? Most CTOs or fractional or owners that we talk to don't have that. It sounds like it's pretty dialed in at StartupHakk.
Yeah, so we actually originally started. Originally just started the YouTube channel. People were like, "Hey, you should teach people how to code." That kind of turned into courses. Courses turned into a boot camp. In order to do boot camps in Arizona, you have to become a licensed vocational school. So we did that. Now we've kind of drifted away from the boot camps, and now we're just doing registered apprenticeship. So kind of like electrician goes to get a registered apprenticeship. We actually are licensed registered apprentices for software development for Idaho, Utah, and Arizona.
Okay, nice. And when it comes down to your development projects with specific businesses, who are you mainly servicing? I know it obviously varies and different things like that, but who's your main customer base? What does that kind of look like? And how do you go about serving them with some solutions?
So we work with a lot of different companies, different shapes and sizes. Some we get occasional, single projects that come through, but most of ours are long-term contracts, multi-year contracts that we work with various different, companies to build out SaaS platforms as most of it. But as everything's turning to nowadays, you can see these servers back behind me. We're building out AI for people and helping people build AI into their SaaS platforms.
And when it comes down to most of your existing clients and customers, where do they mainly come from? What kind of revenue channel or marketing channel, or even just kind of word of mouth? What's kind of the story behind most clients that actually sign with you?
So it's been a combination of word of mouth and then also the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel brings in a lot. We're getting about 1 million views a month right now. And so we attract a lot of attention that way.
And what's been kind of a very helpful tip or trick that you might have for the audience that's probably trying to grow their own YouTube channel specifically, maybe in the B2B or software agency space? What would you kind of recommend over consistency? Any sort of hacks or tips or tricks that maybe you or one of your team members have actually utilized to grow the channel on a faster basis?
There's really not much of a tip or trick. I actually just posted my 8,000th video, actually. So I have a full-time video editor who actually I make content, and then he takes that and cuts it up into various different forms, remixes some of it. We drop those as live, the originals as lives, and then he also drops all the others. We then cross post it across all the different platforms, kind of an Alex Hormozy type style, how Hormozy does it, very similar type of a style, but it's honestly just stay consistent, grind, keep going. I make at least 6 to 10 content pieces a week, and those content pieces are usually 15 to 20 minutes a piece. And so, I mean, it's a grind, man. Just got to keep going through it.
Okay, super cool. So you said 8,000th video. Did I get that correct? Okay, so for people watching this video, most likely have under 100 videos. And then
Right.
another, obviously, even smaller segment has even under 200 and 300 to 400. 8,000 is another sort of metric in of itself. So congratulations on
Yeah.
that. When you guys actually sign a new client, what does the kind of process look like beforehand? Do you guys typically have kind of like a project discovery call where they'll come warm inbound to you or just approach you saying, hey, Spencer, or hey, team, this is kind of what we need to actually develop? And you actually meet with them, or one of your sales guys or girls actually meets with them? What's kind of the process? Walk some of the audience through that.
I'm a really flat org structure, really unique. I still actually handle all of actually. So we really don't take in a ton of contracts right now. Our contracts are generally larger contracts. And so because of that, I actually still handle all of them.
Nice, super cool. And when it comes down to taking on more contracts, is the team currently capped? Like, can you guys even take on more, or are you guys not able to right now?
Yeah, we actually just launched an open source project. So one of my AI teams just launched an open source project called openmonoagent.ai. So it's a full stack. You own the entire AI stack, right? And so we just launched this. This is a really good example of how we're kind of starting to spin off software. And so I have a team that's actually working on various different products. They've actually churned out 5 different brands this year, as well as this open source project. So we're spinning off brands, fast enough at this point that those are starting to attract attention. And now we're starting to grow software in house. So we're not taking on a ton of contracts right now unless they're pretty lucrative, which is why they usually land at my desk if they're at that size. And so right now most of it's around the brand growth. The brands underneath StartupHakk. So
Okay, super cool. And I know you mentioned a couple of times the sizes for the actual projects do range, but they're kind of on a mid to large size basis. Would you mind giving the audience just a little bit more context about that? Are these 5, 6, 7 figure kind of projects and deals? What does it kind of look like? More of an upfront service fee, monthly kind of upkeep? What's kind of the entire gist of it?
So in the software contracts, it kind of starts as the fractional CTO, and that's where a lot of the base of it is so people will, contract out a portion of my time for most of these contracts. And then I help them build up a team and manage the team. We just standardly do net 30 billing. These are our larger contracts. And so we're working on, 500,000 to 1 million a year size contracts.
Okay, super cool. Very healthy margins there as well. When it comes down to kind of day-to-day operations, you as a founder and CEO, obviously over the past couple of years building up a startup hack, what does that look like for you as of right now in terms of day-to-day ops? You wake up, what's kind of your flow? Every single founder slash CEO kind of has their own way of doing it. What's yours?
So we're about a third offshore and then two-third onshore. So because of that, a lot of the work is still being done, during the evening. So I pretty much hit the ground running. I wake up at 5 o'clock like clockwork every single morning. Usually get some work done. I read a lot in the morning, so it's usually kind of a juggle of work and reading, some spiritual study. Like to read my scriptures, do that, and then usually try to get some exercise, go lift, go for a walk with my wife, do something like that. And if it's school time, I'm getting kids out the door. I have a father of 5 kids, 2 grandkids, another one on the way, and another grandkid on the way. And so, spending time with family, getting them out the door. Then usually I'm starting my day by about 8 o'clock. My mornings are jammed because my company, I require all my developers to work between 8 a.m. and 12 a.m., or excuse me, 8 a.m. to noon every single day. So those hours are really packed because that's when everybody in my org is online. So I'm working pretty hard during those. And the afternoons usually is when I'm then doing other work, catching up on projects, doing videos, lots of videos going. I do a lot of video shoots in the evening. So, I mean, if I'm not working, I'm spending time with family. I don't really have a ton of hobbies. My work is pretty much my hobby, but so if I'm where a lot of people are sitting and watch TV or whatever in the evening, I'm grinding out some videos or something with a business.
Okay, super cool. And do you feel like at any point in time you want to buy back specific portions or blocks of your actual day? And if so, what time or portion block kind of is that for you?
I'm in a growth mode right now. So like, I mean, my family time, like I said, hour or two in the morning, getting kids out the door, making sure I'm staying healthy to try to get some workouts since, my job pays me to sit on my butt instead. And then other than that, like from 4 to 8 p.m. is really family time. But, I'm usually working 8 till 11 at night, back up doing it again in the morning. So I really, right now, if I have extra time, I'm grinding on another project.
Okay, super cool. So you're always working, always doing something. Obviously, make sure you're being family oriented as well. When it comes down, I know we talked about kind of briefly kind of what the morning schedule looks like as well in the afternoon. What do you feel? Do you feel like you're too busy at certain points to where you want to make more money? Or you right now, are you kind of in a comfortable spot where you're like, I'm good right now. I have my routine. I know certain entrepreneurs, certain people, especially who found companies, are just like never satisfied. Obviously, get to the point where they're always doing something, which is always great, but there's always a next thing. Do you feel that? Do you feel more content? Kind of where's your headspace at being in this space for a while, having a lot of years of experience under your belt too?
Right now, I think there's a great opportunity. I think there's a huge opportunity where a lot of people are, kind of dissing on software. You see the, SaaS, you know what I mean? Like where they're killing off SaaS, right? But they're not. SaaS is actually growing faster than ever before. AI has actually sparked more development into software than we've seen in a long time. And so it's actually a great opportunity right now because there's really good spots in the market to be building on. And so I guess I'm just right now at a point where if I have extra time, I'm just grinding out another project. And so, like I said, we've launched 5 brands this year, one of which is an open source project that we're excited about. And so, I mean, right now my mind just keep going and we're just, kind of keeping the momentum running.
Nice, nice. Okay. So always grinding, always doing something. Are you guys actively taking on more project calls and deals as of right now?
I would always say no, never say no.
Okay, sweet. A lot of the times, about 90% of development companies that we actually talk to are always like, yes, hell yes, we're always going to actually focus on growth. Some of them are like, hey, our team is capped. hey, our, backend's cap, but I think you guys have that tied up in a bow pretty well. At what point in time during your founder journey did you realize that this was actually going to be extremely sustainable? A lot of people obviously come from corporate backgrounds or other development backgrounds, more consistent salary, and then obviously start some sort of a development company. What was your trend kind of like? And at what point were you like, okay, yeah, this is my own thing. I own this. This is Startup Hack.
It was actually when I transitioned from just taking a corporate job. I had actually worked as a fractional CTO for some other founders. And I kind of at one point said, like, why am I doing this for somebody? And it, like I've told a lot of people, when you're doing software consulting, getting your first client's the hardest one. Once you have the first client, the ball gets rolling, right? And from there, there's referrals, you're busy, like things just always grow. That client, I've never had a client who, I mean, we've had a couple of one and done projects, very few of them. Most of them just keep wanting more and more and more. Software is kind of a drug, right? Like once you get it, you just want to keep building, keep building. I've never had anybody get to the end of a project and be like, well, that's it. I'm good with the software. I don't need any more features, right? Like, and so every project continues to grow. And right now, where the world's changing so quickly with AI, like if you're not staying ahead, you're a year behind.
Absolutely. And so you came from a corporate background. What year-round year was this kind of at and kind of timeline? That way you can kind of put that in our heads a little bit better for you.
We're on our third year. We've grown over 200% year over year, and we're continuing to grow really fast. And like I said, we're trying to transition more towards our own software at this point. But overall, we're like I said, I'm always take on because we're onboarding the registered apprentices. I'm always hiring, so I hire anywhere from 2 to 5 of the registered apprentices a month. So we're continuing to grow really quickly, and because of that, I'm always willing to spin on another project, whether it be one of mine or somebody else's.
Nice. And I think the really cool thing as well is there are a lot of operators, especially in this space, utilizing AI to eliminate a bunch of manual work and workflows and obviously the basic A to Z stuff in their actual businesses. What would you say is probably one of the best capabilities that a lot of people actually aren't using AI for, but they really should, other than the most basic integrations and workflows? What is that kind of like for you?
So I'm actually a lot different. I'm a firm believer in building your own AI stack. I think we're going to actually see a spot over the next 6 to 8 months where the cost of tokens, the control on that is going to get rug pulled by everybody. So we've seen a subsidy on AI for the last 3 years, where VCs have been subsidizing these large frontier models, and you're already starting to see those token pricing changes, right? Copilot and Claude both announced it in June. They're going to a token base, right? So no more just flat tiers where you get a bunch of free tokens. And I think because of that, we're going to see people either do understand how to build AI like themselves or they don't. And if they don't, they're going to get left behind pretty quick because this has basically been some free hits from the drug dealers for the last 3 years with the subsidies of the VCs. And you're about to see a bunch of rug pulls happen the second half of this year.
Very interesting. I was just talking to an employee with that actually yesterday. And so everything is becoming token, obviously. How, I mean, really tangibly, if we place ourselves 6 months down the line, what does that kind of look like to mitigate against that or just completely go against it? So your entire philosophy is write your own code, build your own kind of software. Is that kind of the route?
Yeah, so we actually OpenMonoAgent.ai actually is a full open source platform that allows you to take a machine like one of these or even a little brick like this guy, and you can install inference onto it, and you actually own the whole stack all the way from inference up to the agent. So it's custom, but it's all open source, so you can learn how to build the whole thing and have full control of the whole stack. you know, Last year we saw a bunch of businesses get rug pulled by OpenAI when they pulled the 4.0 a GPT 4.0 model without any warning, right? This is an example of where these frontier models are in completely control. The other part of it is the number of people who are just pumping their data into these frontier models. You're going to see a lot of people starting to get sued for this really quickly. It's just the amount of we've lost our minds when we've gone to AI, and suddenly it's where data privacy was this crazy thing 3 years ago. And now it's like, let's give it all to these guys in the cloud. And nobody's paying attention to how much data they're giving them. I think we're going to see a lot of shift with that over the next couple of years. Our regulated industries are starting to really crack down on what's going into AI, and that's not going to mean they're not going to want it. But so because of that, right now you're seeing less than 2% of the population has a paid AI account. So think about that number for a minute. Less than 2%. We have not even begun to see the saturation. And so I don't think it's going to replace jobs at all. I think it's going to be the other. And you've got guys like Mark Cuban and others who said the same thing, right? He was there for the rollout of the PC. that rollout of AI is a huge opportunity for any business who wants to dive in.
Absolutely. And so you're saying actually take everything into your own hands and start actually writing the code and building your own software. With this AI obviously becoming somewhat of a commodity as soon as everything gets pushed out more and more and more, where do you see the market kind of shifting to in the next sort of 6 months? Whether it's a development company or it's a marketing company, what's kind of really the gist if we kind of fast forward here from your perspective?
So, Meta actually just announced this yesterday, but over the last month, Google, OpenAI, Anthropic, Meta just announced this. They're actually starting to hire and build out teams of FDEs, forward deployed engineers, right? These are guys who know how to build and work on automation using AI, right? And they're actually starting this. And so that whole myth of, hey, we're going to replace software developers, now suddenly that pendulum swung so far that these same companies are now actually becoming like StartupHakk to come into companies, do software deployments, set up those consulting. Because the thing about it is that what they've actually found is what I predicted the last 3 years. AI is really complicated software. It's not trivial to get started on. And to build out a real full AI build out that actually works at a high level requires a very high level technical level of engineer. And so you're going to actually see more engineering come out of this, where the myth has been sold for the last few years that it was going to replace engineering.
Okay, super cool. Seems like we're going to give the audience some little nuggets to think about, especially in the next coming months too, and even starting here in June. What's actually the company website once again, Spencer, and where can we find you on the internet?
So go check out startuphakk.com, StartupHakk, HAKK with two Ks. It's just how we roll. But yeah, we love to help companies build custom software solutions.
Great. I appreciate you joining RevTalks, Spencer. I'm looking forward to staying in touch and getting this episode out.